Whoa!
We
I
added
like
rolls that time. We were,
Yeah, no. I got jealous.
I know. I
the
heard
R,
you.
and then I wanted to roll the R.
You had it a tongue roll too, which is like it's one of those things. Once you hear the roll, like you got to do it if you can do it. You know, there's people who can't do it.
Oh, that's sad. But tip for anyone out there that wants to do this: say Prince of Prussia, and then try to say it as if the R's are D's. Prince of Prussia, and then you try to do that really fast and like Prince. Maybe it'll help you. Not sure.
When did you become a linguist? Is that a? I don't know. I don't know if that's
No. That's correct. I think a linguist, or I'm not really a linguist. I'm more like attempting to be, what is it called? A polyglot, but really a duoglot. Someone who knows two languages, learning Spanish, and that's why I knew this tip about rolling the R's, which for all the people out there might come in helpful if you want to like say Zorro's name really funkily. That's going to tie us right into what we are, which is a podcast titled The Grand Line Tourist, which is a chapter by chapter examining for myself, or re-examining if you're the other person talking to me across the internet there, of Eiichiro Oda's One Piece. Me doing the examining, I am Jacob S. Jarecki, and I'm your tourist, but who leads me through this wonderful journey? Introduce yourself over there.
I'm Eric, and I'm a Pisces. No, I'm kidding. I'm not.
We need more info to crack into your accounts.
No, I'm definitely a Taurus, the other spelling of a Taurus. But I am Eric Sivu, the tour guide, here to guide Jacob through this journey, this spiritual journey of reading Ichiro Oda's One Piece manga, as we learn a little bit about ourselves and discover ourselves within the text of this great story. It sounds really weird if I talk in that creepy, like, calm tone.
Yeah.
But it also, like, maybe is that an air of seriousness if I talk in this level?
It would definitely bring a different vibe to our podcast.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
we're just discovering ourselves through One Piece.
If we talked about it just like this.
Oh my goodness. Well,
if we do this, then we have to put ourselves under the self-healing section of podcast category if we talk like that the whole way. Get some new
We are the
listeners.
only self-healing One Piece manga podcast out there. It would make us very unique. But you know what? Let's go ahead and dive in and let a little more of our uniqueness show today. We, on our itinerary today, are going to cover Chapter 21, titled Townies.
Townies. Wait, fun little fact before you jump into it.
Oh, fun fact.
Neighbors, that movie with Zac Efron and
Seth Rogen,
and
right?
Seth Rogen and other folks. McLovin was in it. Anyways, the original name of that movie was called Townies. That's it. That's a small little bit.
Whoa!
Hey, don't say that Eric didn't teach y'all nothing. The C the C in my middle name stands for charismatically knowledgeable.
Oh, you know what? And this is maybe a tip or like an acknowledgement to who's going to play Luffy in the upcoming Netflix adaptation. Is it Zac Efron? No, I'm just totally misplanting knowledge. That would be insane casting if that was a choice right there.
I think a lot of people would be upset.
If he was younger, it could have done. I think at his current age, it doesn't work.
No,
like,
he's also
he wouldn't
buff.
have been the most ridiculous casting in the world at a certain time in his life. But he wouldn't have been ideal, I don't think.
I mean, it's probably just as bad as Chris Pratt as Mario. So it's all good. This is the world we live in.
Bringing it back, we gotta get back on this road here on the itinerary. What just happened? We just saw Luffy beat Buggy. Yep. I win. He's pretty happy. Nami, our money-obsessed Nami, she is trying to carry all this money, but does admit she's going to need some help carrying it. And she verbally acknowledges that, she's on the crew for now. Like, I feel like this is the most we've ever had from her.
Stipulations.
Whoa. I just swallowed some seawater, but I'm going to keep going anyway. The townsfolk, they show up because they've been without a town for a while, dealing with all this crazy stuff going on.
They got a lot of, like patriotism going right now for their town, dude. They're ready to fight.
Yeah, exactly. They show up, and Luffy, in classic truth-telling naivete, just admits that he is the one that did what happened to the mayor to him. The townspeople don't know. They see him unconscious, but he admits that it was him. And he also then just rolls that train right along and says, we're pirates too, Obviously, this does not look good, and so they are running away. Who knows if they're going to escape, but we have an old friend. Woof. Chou Chou.
Chow
defends
Chow.
them.
Good old Chow Chow, dude.
They make it back to their ships because they have two ships now, right? The one that Zoro came in on earlier, and the one that Nami came in on as well.
Yeah, that's the one that
making a little.
Luffy and Zoro both left on from the previous arc, and then they also have the one that Nami Grand Theft Auto'd, or Grand Theft Marine Auto'd. I don't know what Maritime stole. I don't know what it is on the ocean.
Armada Auto'd. We got but as they approach their ships, they got some old pirates that are quickly dealt with by Zoro as he scares them off by just a look of his face.
Yes.
And our chapter ends on a pretty upbeat, touching moment with the mayor, almost looking upset, but like we can kind of tell that we're going to get something else. He's running to, get to them before they leave, and he ultimately is running to them to say thank you. To say thank you for all they've done for his town, for saving his life, probably by knocking him out. I don't know if all the other townspeople are going to learn this eventually, or if they will forever be infamous, but in the eyes of the mayor, fine. But we end on that note, and also an ominous note of the words Trial of the Forest upcoming in their adventures. And I remember you saying this is the end of an arc, right?
This is the end of the Buggy arc, essentially. They have a few names for it. I think I wrote down Orange Town, which I don't know if they ever said Orange Town anywhere, but we'll call it the Buggy arc more or less, right? Because it's Buggy and the Buggy arc. That's what he was. He was the bad guy.
Yeah, no, he was pretty consistent throughout it all.
Yeah.
And now he's somewhere else.
Just to kind of just talk about that point, just kind of stretch it out a bit more. What are your thoughts about this arc, about finishing up this these chapters? If you guys don't know, chapters 8 through 21, which is the end of this Buggy arc. What is your overall thoughts over it?
My overall thoughts are, as I think an inexperienced manga reader, I don't feel arcs yet.
Ooh.
I think it's obvious. If you were to tell me, like, make the point of where the arcs are, like Jacob, which chapters, and try to, like, divide it up. I think I'd get it right. But it just feels kind of, at the moment, like these, the continuing adventures of Luffy. You know what I mean? I don't quite feel them yet, Maybe as I encounter a few more, it'll start to be like, oh, no, I get it, We kind of had this particular chapter was very light on anything super important, right? This actually, you know what? Now that I think of it, it reminds me a little bit of the end of Kobe, kind of seeing them off as they ran off for a different adventure.
Yeah,
so,
I was gonna make that joke too. Yeah.
No, maybe I'm starting to feel it. Maybe this is me starting to understand kind of how these arcs end, how it's not as big or crazy of a fight. We kind of have this little lull in the action before we get going on some new adventure, I hope.
Yeah. If all else fails, whenever they say bye at a dock, that's the end of an arc.
Oh, wow. No, that's awesome. That's actually going to be extremely helpful. That's like something that, especially if you're probably like me at the beginning of my One Piece journey, someone who's reading a little too fast, it's kind of nice. Just be like, oh, yeah, okay, slow down. They're at a dock. Someone's waving.
Yeah, someone's thanking them for what they've done. Which makes sense because this is a pirate story, and it's a story about them, like, continuing on, like, pushing forward, right?
Yeah.
I kind of wrote down, too, it kind of, like, Luffy kind of gets this kind of like traveling cowboy feel to him, which is like he goes into a town who has this situation that he'll solve ultimately through a battle, and then he gets to leave before like credit is truly given. But like the people who know, they give him the credit that he deserves, which is cool. You like this one better?
No, I totally feel that. I think if you were to pitch me on Luffy as a cowboy, I think archetypally he lines up more than Luffy as a pirate at the moment. Or Luffy is like the lone sheriff. But that's okay. Luffy can aspire to be whatever he wants to be, and that's a pirate. So,
and
that's what he's going for.
Just to kind of reinforce that too, he's the one who's like, there's a lot of he does a lot of things intentionally. Like he intentionally told the truth about being a pirate and knocking out the mayor, because he has I don't know. He has this weird moral compass when he's like, "Well, those people were."
That's like the honorable sheriff move.
Yeah, like I might as well
you're gonna have to put me.
I...
If you're gonna arrest anybody, it better be me, because I'm the one who killed him. And then everyone's like,
yeah,
and it's like the right thing to do in the circumstance or something.
He kind of goaded them into a fight, which Zoro thinks is funny, and it's just one of those things. Like Luffy's not gonna lie about it. He's just gonna tell them, because I think he also, I also think he kind of appreciates like that they were willing to fight for their mayor. So I think he's like, well, I want to be someone who has that kind of following too. So I'll tell him the truth. I beat him up. I'm a pirate. Those are the facts.
Yeah, and he even said, I think a pretty good line in there was like, it wouldn't have mattered what we told them. They, they loved their mayor, which was, One Piece just has these little deep cuts, these little stabs that like occasionally just hit you in a way that's like, huh, yeah, that line's in there. Like, and it makes sense, We learned that this town was like built for the second time with this mayor, right? So like, I mean, they would really seriously respect him. So, it's interesting to see that play out.
And then I know they snuck it in really quickly in the beginning. It was just a line of dialogue with Nami being like, hey, I split into half. You take half, I take half. But I thought it was kind of fun for him to kind of pay that off at the end with him saying, like, oh, I left half of them because that town's messed up. They need the money to rebuild. Which is a fun little thing. And that kind of brings me to, like, the bigger theme of this arc, which is, like, people's treasure and how to treasure things. And, like, everybody's treasure is saved other than Buggy's. But
yeah, and it kind of continuing a little bit of a thought that we had last chapter where I said Nami didn't have any character development in regards to fitting into Luffy's crew culture. Her leaving half, right, is sort of maybe a step in that direction, right?
Well, Luffy left it.
Oh, sorry. I was thinking of
she
at the was
beginning.
Actually
more okay with
she does
it
say
than we
she
thought.
was. Yeah, because initially she starts with saying, like, can someone help me carry this? And, like, I don't know. She seems like a lone, I'm going to carry my treasure by myself sort of person. And then Luffy takes the natural next step and says, we're leaving half so they can rebuild.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, well, I mean, but you're right, though, in your assessment, though, because she does kind of, her reaction is less than, I mean, she still tries to drown Luffy, but it's like a goofy kind of drown. But I think overall, she's, like, okay with the logic. Is what we kind of see.
She didn't immediately ditch the crew,
she's laughing about it. Yeah, right? She kind of laughs while trying to drown Luffy. Because, it's cute when you try to drown someone. When you try to drown your captain. Which I think you're right. Which is kind of, there's a little bit revealed about Nami there. The other thing I kind of liked about the end of this chapter that I think is really cool and kind of like, that I have to give Oda a lot of credit for, which is, I think a lot of the characters we meet in this arc kind of gets paid off. Like we kind of see them again, which we don't really need to. Chou Chou's a big one. Chou Chou comes in and protects them out of the alley because Chou Chou knows what's happening and knows what happened. All right.
Chou Chou's a smart dog.
Yeah, he's a real smart dog. The mayor kind of gets his arc paid off, right? It closes with him thanking them and having his arc protected, and also like Luffy and them leaving the treasure so they can rebuild. Like that arc gets solved. Luffy still picks up his hat, still loves his hat, right? And this is such a small thing, but the three pirates who end up waiting for Nami in the boat because she robbed him in the beginning, they kind of bookend the whole arc because they end the arc where we find them originally, which is in the ocean.
Yeah, no, they kind of they're like it's not really, it doesn't instigate the adventure to some extent, but they're there at the front and they're there at the end.
In the end, and no matter what, they end up in the ocean, which is really funny. Which is like one of those like, oh, look at like this is kind of cool. He didn't need to do that, but it's kind of a fun little like look at all the people that we saw in this arc. Now it's moving on. It feels very much like an RPG video game, like a Japanese RPG, when they're like, you finish this one section of the story. This is what everybody who was involved in the story could like. Bye. Now you're moving on.
No, it would be interesting to know how much of this is a naturalistic writing process, meaning that like this is just what came out when he continues to write, or if it's like he writes the whole arc and then proceeds to divide it up in a way that would then be creating the art for it, I don't know if we'd have to probably do some research to see which one he does, because I can see it almost happening either way, right? It just probably sometimes if you're a good writer, it feels natural to say, oh, well, I kind of want to know what happened to those characters. Of course, I feel like I need to do it, right? Or you could be kind of like the plotting, smart kind of like writer with this notebook out that says, these guys are coming back for sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I'm going to memento this sort of deal. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think that's a really cool thing about this arc. And I'm like, oh, this is a really cool way. This chapter is a very good way of like closing all of that stuff. Like it's closed because it's kind of like, why bring up all those characters if you're not gonna kind of close them out the way they did? And he did. I mean, the only people who don't really get closed out are like the buggy pirates who get beat up. Right? But I mean, I guess that arc closed once they get knocked out. Like once you're unconscious, you don't get any closure for your arc.
Unconscious and death, the same thing. No, I'm just kidding.
But I will say though, I say this, but I'm gonna give you just a little tour guide, like foreshadow that their arcs do kind of get closed, but in a very fun, unique way. So you'll have
the
to
arcs of the Buggy Pirates.
Yeah, and Buggy. Yeah,
is what you're saying, right? They'll get closed.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
A little more closure, but you'll see it. Yeah.
No, more closure. We haven't seen it yet, right? Not in this chapter.
No.
Is it somewhere else?
It'll
Okay,
happen.
very interesting.
It will definitely happen. I didn't get a chance to talk about. This is just a small thing. I didn't get a chance to talk about last chapter and this chapter, but I want to talk about how cool the little cover arts are getting too. They're just kind of fun little moments.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Those
like
are
the last chapter,
amazing.
it was the cover art was like Zoro training with like a panda or something, kind of watching over him, like a boss panda watching him train. And this one is just like Luffy and a tiger relaxing after a big meal, which is like super cute and super fun.
Yeah, no, they're almost. It's actually kind of tough to fit them in the podcast because they are so just out there, right? Like,
yeah.
They speak to other adventures, just something happening some other day, right? But they are super gorgeous to look at, and like I like how they almost feel. I'm trying to say abstract, but like there's another word that means just like out of place.
Yeah, yeah. They're like little pieces of. They're like little pieces of Oda's logic.
Oh, they're surreal. Yeah, and they're surreal just because the world of One Piece is so strange and interesting,
But also, like, when you see it, you're also like, I guess that, like, it makes sense to me to see them do these things. I also love how, like, later on, I was thinking about these cover arts. In this beginning here, he's not, like, later on, Oda starts taking suggestions. Like, writers start
for the cover arts?
Yeah, writers start adding in, like, I want to see Nami playing poker with penguins or something, right? And he'll draw it. Because eventually One Piece gets to this place where the fandom is so big that they feel they're a part of these things. Well, I'm sure he looks and he gets all these suggestions from people like, I'd like to see Zoro training with like dogs or something, or running with horses in fun ways. Like he'll take their suggestions and he'll actually draw it, which is like super neat and super cool. And like I think he's opening the door in these early cover arts of saying like anything is possible in this world.
Yeah, and if you reach out to us at grandlinetourist@gmail.com and specifically request a drawing of something, Eric will do it.
Terribly. I would draw it terribly. Oh no.
That's
right. Okay, to my next point, which is I would like to check in with you, Jacob S. Jarecki, which I think S stands for Samuel.
Oh, good guess. I won't tell you if it's right or not because
dang it.
That would give it away, See, Chester. I like Chester, so that's
oh my god, that is the most American middle name. Can you? No, it's not possible.
I think it's like talking about why I think Chester's a good name would be pointless. Continue.
Yes. So I wanted to check in with you to see kind of like this is where we are. We are now 21 chapters into the One Piece story. How are you feeling? What are your thoughts? Are we ready to give up? Are you ready to turn back around and go back away?
Heck no. I'm not turning back around. We haven't even hit the Grand Line yet.
We have not hit the Grand Line whatsoever.
I feel like, the only way this podcast can ever be considered any sort of success is if we at least tore a small section of the Grand Line at the very least, right?
Well, listen in, folks. We'll get there, I hope, by the end of the year.
Oh, no. The Grand Line's that far away?
It's a good distance. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, okay, all right.
There's a lot in the East Blue that we need to tour first. It's all character stuff, You'll be a stronger reader once we get through this section.
No, fair enough. Yeah, and besides that, I think I just continually become more and more impressed with the attention to detail and how it kind of fits in a way that's generally more intelligent than I'm giving it credit for on a first look. That's kind of probably my biggest takeaway from the first 21 chapters of any manga that I've ever read. This one, being One Piece, that's what I'm taking away at the moment. That's the joy that I get as I read each chapter, pretty much.
Yeah. Has this little podcast of an experiment that we're doing, has this sparked any interest in other like mangas or animes for you?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I think the fact that it's such a rich space because there's so many, there's so much there's so many being done, right?
Yeah.
Like, you told me about these magazines where like they're full of every week, and that's of one genre, right? That's not because that was the Shonen Jump magazines, right? So that's just one genre, right? Mm-hmm. So I enjoy how rich the space is for all different types of stories in a way that gets me excited to dig into others. But, it's only so much time to read, so many things to do, and
goodness,
One Piece is very long. So I'll let you know if I pick up any others. And then there's even American comic books. So it's a tough world, but I definitely I probably need to find a way to pick up. You know what? Actually, I probably do have a way because there are some animes that I like. And I do have like one YouTuber, Mother's Basement, small shout out. That
he's great.
I like because he'll go over a large swath and give you like a little taste of the art style, and I can just kind of flick through those. And I did find the only other manga that I've read a little bit through an anime that he talked about. So maybe that's my way to find some mangas, is now that I kind of know a little bit more about the process of reading them, how to get them, I can just go ahead and reverse back, find an anime that looks cool visually and be like, you know what, let me find the manga, and then I can just start there.
We can also,
it's kind of fun to be up on to not be so far behind, right?
Right.
So as opposed to being -1,000, I could be like, maybe -5.
Now we can also, take suggestions from our listeners too. I mean, hopefully a handful of them are fans of stories or fans of of this type of thing. So hopefully, if you all have any suggestions for Jacob, or even for myself, if it's something I haven't read before or haven't noticed, I'll definitely check it out. Especially because you all are talking to me, I'll definitely check it out. So it's just one of those things. Yeah. So
yeah, please do. Like I said, that line's open for both artistic requests to Eric and for recommendations for things for him to read. grandlinetourist@gmail.com. Now, I did have one small detail from this chapter I wanted to call out to you, and it's very small, and it's a very technical question. There's Nami and Luffy looking at their boats, and Luffy is saying like, "Oh, their boat, it looks really cool. It's great." And then Nami says, "It's seen better." And I don't know if you can see it when I'm holding up to the camera. You can see a small 2 teardrop symbol at the bottom of that panel. You kind of see that there?
I think she's saying that she's seen better.
Oh yeah, no, I've seen better. Sorry, I might have said that wrong. But you know what that symbol means? Like, what is? Oftentimes it's pretty rare to get drawings inside of a panel. Is that she's sad about that fact, do you think?
I don't know if she's sad. I took that line kind of man,
embarrassed.
I
wasn't
so
sure. I was trying to.
Yeah.
No. So okay. It's if it wasn't there, I wouldn't have thought about this line at all. I hadn't seen a panel that had a symbol in it before, and so I just wanted to call it out for your expertise there for a moment.
You and I both need to log that into our minds.
Yeah.
Maybe that's.
We'll see if it. Yeah.
Maybe they'll come back. So let's log it. It's logged in my mind now. Now I'm going to think about it.
All right. I'll call it out if I ever see any others.
And we'll talk back about this thing around, I don't know, July.
When we see the second one.
Whenever we get to the pace where I'm thinking it is.
So, with that, I don't know if you had any more wrap-up material for the end of this arc. Oh, yeah. I'm always ready to laugh.
I'm ready to laugh.
But
it sucks because we already talked about my jokes. So.
Oh! What about, I really enjoyed in this chapter when the pirates, finally, some of the pirates from Buggy's crew learn that Buggy didn't win, right?
Yeah.
And they say, let's keep playing dead,
Yes.
Which is it's almost like another joke because they were originally playing dead to avoid fighting with Devil Fruit folks, and now they're playing dead again because their team lost, right? They're done,
Exactly. That's so good. That was one, but like I said, we mentioned the ones that I kind of talked about, which was the honest, when you brought how honest he was. Yes. I thought that stuff was really funny too. Just him being I wrote down
blunt honesty is hilarious.
Yeah, you don't need to reinvent the wheel if it ain't broken, man. Do the same joke as much as you want. I think it's gonna be hilarious. So I think that's just a great little joke that they brought up again just within this chapter, which is super, super funny and dope.
And there's kind of a runner, a joke that's been brought up a couple times, and Zoro gets up and he says, "It's no good. I don't think I can walk." And Nami says, "Well, of course not. If you could, I wouldn't believe either of you guys are human, right?" Mm-hmm. And then Luffy says, "Don't lump me in with him." And
yes,
Luffy's a very strange creature, to say the least, right?
Which
So
is
this idea of
essentially more or less what Nami's response. Like, you are the furthest away from a human, right? Like, it's the same response.
no. So this runner about devil fruit users being a little self-conscious about being seen as abnormal when clearly they are I kind of like as a running joke. Pretty funny.
Yes, and they get more and more weird. So just get ready for that. I mean, that's everything I got. Anything else you got for the ha-has?
No. I just got 2 hands with floating knives right behind you as I bite a bag of money. We're ready to go. We're ready to fight, and I'm going to fight dirty. This is the panel battle, everybody.
Yes.
This is where we take our, panel that we saw in this chapter that spoke to us the most, and they go head-to-head. No one's keeping track except me and my pride, and, we also want to hear if you and your pride think that there's a particularly good panel that you want to share. So
Yep.
grandlinetourist@gmail.com. But let's get this started. I think do you want to go ahead and take a look at my panel for this chapter?
I do.
Started off strong this week, and it's the lower left panel of the image got sent there.
Oh, this is a good choice, man. This is Luffy putting on his hat after the fight. It has 3 knife marks through it. And he's saying it's not so bad, I guess. I can still wear it. It sure felt good to clobber old Buggy. We have the automatopoeia of like Froomp of the hat coming back on, some steam coming out, some dust coming off, I'm sure, because he's putting it on with such vigor. It's cool, man. And this is a response to Nami asking, man, that hat means a lot to you, huh? It's like, yeah, dog, I've told you that from the beginning of this arc, that it means a lot to me, and this is how much it means. So it's cool. It's kind of like him, like the closure of the arc. Like, it's done now. He's done with it being beat up. He's just happy he can wear it again. Yeah,
and I really like there's a panel pretty close to this one with Luffy kind of looking stern. He's obviously still he's upset. His hat was it was hurt, right? Mm-hmm. But he decides to resolve it, right? He lets it go to some extent. And I think that's interesting to see in Luffy's character, because before, when this originally happened, we saw, I think, the angriest Luffy we've ever seen, right?
Right.
So it's cool to see him bounce back, to know that Luffy can get to that extreme point of emotion, but he doesn't doesn't carry that with him, at least in this example. He's able to come back to the old, happy, smiling Luffy that we know. Mm-hmm. And just a fun little detail I wanted to call about the particular art in this panel as well is the rim of the hat, which is circular, kind of makes these like you can kind of almost what I'm thinking it is you can kind of make out the 3D shape of Luffy's head a little bit based on the shadow of the hat brim falling across his face, because it's not a straight line. And I just thought that was a cool little detail there. I was very impressed.
Yeah, and I also think it means a lot to kind of end the chapter with him putting it on, because like Buggy knew Shanks, and Buggy is kind of like we said way back when, like the polar opposite of Shanks. So it's kind of cool to see like the hat that is damaged by Buggy, who is Shanks' polar opposite, for him to put it back on and still be as happy wearing it as he did when Shanks put it on, right? Like Buggy's damage to it, Buggy's attack on Shanks' like reputation and what Shanks means didn't affect Luffy. Luffy's putting it back on.
Yeah,
it's a fun little detail.
His treasure remains with him.
Yep, the Bruno Mars's treasure remains with him. Yeah. I'm gonna show you mine. That's a really good choice. You might have beat me, because I think my choice is a little bit more built into nostalgia.
Weak sauce nostalgia. What is this? Okay, no, I'm just okay. What do we got here? We have Luffy, Nami, and Zoro on the ship. Zoro is in a nice reclined, head back against the prow of the boat. Actually, Nami's on a different boat, right?
Yeah.
Is she? Yeah, she's actually on the adjacent boat. That has, I think it's Buggy's boat, because I'm pretty sure the Buggy's boat has the skull and crossbones with the nose on it.
Has his Jolly Roger on it, yeah.
And Luffy's just got this great big smile, and you can see, not dimple, but you can see his scar that we know that he got very, very at a young age. Yes. Self-inflicted, foolish little Luffy. And it's, this is just a serene, almost cute kind of, touching panel of our crew now. Our crew and their armada of 2 ships. I like this one a lot.
Yeah, and this is right after the mayor thanks them for what they've done. Yeah. Right, which is kind of like a fun little thing. But I think I kind of chose it because it's fun to see these 3 in a panel. Like this is probably the first panel that they shared. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but this is really like a really first like, oh, look at the crew now sort of deal, right?
No, that would be amazing to know if it is the first panel that they all three have shared together in like a this sort of fashion, because that's just cool. It's like that means that those types of panels make a statement, right? And that's that they're a crew now.
Right, they're a crew now, even though Nami has made it explicitly clear that she's temporarily making an alliance.
A tentative crew arrangement, yada yada.
Right, but first female character who's a navigator, and our crew needs a navigator. I don't know. Methinks.
I'm not gonna pull out my tinfoil hat for this one. I'm keeping it off to the side. Tinfoil time's gonna wait.
Right. Oh man. Well, I mean, this is it, man. I'm happy, Jacob. I have to say, I'm happy that we have gone 21 chapters in and you haven't called it quits. Me too. I like that you enjoy the tour for this long, at least, that we've gone and you still enjoy the tour. So
yeah, I'm really just waiting for the slip and slide to be back up, and then I'm gonna do 2 more runs
again
to the edge, back, and I'm out.
No, look, man, we can't. The only form of entertainment we have is this improv troupe that we found that does improv every other Thursday on this tour. So this is the only thing
every other Thursday? So after I see a show, I got to sit on this boat for 2 weeks to see the second show?
Improv is hard. Ask anybody who's ever done it, all right? It's a lot of yes-anding. There's a lot of space work.
Oh, my goodness. You guys are the laziest improv ever. 2-week recovery time. Unless it's like a 9-hour show. I don't know.
Hey, bless their heart. They're all doing it for free, but don't tell them that. They don't know that yet. You know what? Let's end this podcast. We need to figure out what onomatopoeia we need to hear this time.
Although this panel at the end is quite serene, I don't think it's going to be that serene. You think Luffy's going to be able to pull out from this dock and not like ram into Nami like a bunch of times and get the boat all like dingied up and horrible? So I'm going to be in Luffy's boat over here. You can be in Nami's boat over there, and I'll be backing up the boat, and you can tell me what I need to do to adjust, and we'll see if I happen to hit your boat or if what goes on. So okay, right. I'm backing the boat out. How do I look? How do I look?
Starboard.
Starboard port. I never learned this. Port.
Port.
How's it?
No.
Are we hitting?
No.